We have joining us live from Dubai, venue of COP28, the president of Niger Youth Council, Jonathan Lokpobiri, to speak more on this issue. Thank you for joining us on Newsnight. Now, the Niger Delta cleanup, I don't want to say the Ogoni, it's not just limited to Ogoni, but the Niger Delta cleanup has been an issue for as long as I'm aware. So it was COP28 conversation able to reach some appreciable conclusion for you?
Can I respond?
Carry on, yes.
Okay. For those of us from the Niger Delta who are heavily burdened by the neglect of our environment, is quite concerned about the attitude and approach towards solving the problem of the Niger Delta, though the Niger Delta is part of Nigeria's larger problem. But the fact is, no clear attention so far is targeted at solving the only region who bears the brunt of oil and gas exploration activities that has defined or characterized Nigeria as an oil producing country in the world. So when there's no such national attention to the issues of the Niger Delta, of course we are left with no choice but to bring our issues to the global stage. The cleanup of Ogoni is one of a mess, and I can tell you for free that Ogoni is just a fragment of the larger Niger Delta environment that is so polluted by not just oil and gas activities alone, by bunkering as well as plastic pollution, leading to the ocean surge, the high rise in tide and flood. So the context under which climate change is discussed, we question it, and we encourage using this platform to tell Nigeria that the Nigeria as a government and as a nation must come plain in their desire to truly tackle the issues of climate change within the Niger Delta. There's a lot more beyond just the quest for climate financing, but there has to be climate justice and environmental justice to the people of the Niger Delta, whose environment has laid the ultimate price for Nigeria's oil activities. This is the reason why we are here personally to narrate our own story.
Right, interesting. But then that's good to know. But the president has said he's committed to stopping gas flaring, or at least reduce it to the barest minimum. Is that any consolation for you?
Remember, in 2011 or 12 or thereabout, Nigeria government came out publicly to announce the ending of gas flaring. Today, that is about 10 years ago. No efforts has been done to either compelling polluters of our environment to pay loss and damage payments to the people of the Niger Delta. Today, we have extended the goalpost by far what companies are expected to deal with. So the usual rhetorics of government that we will end gas flaring in another 10 years is not something that you and I should expect to see them. Of course, as Niger Deltans, we are used to rhetoric. So the real question in a global stage such as this is, when is Nigeria taking action? This is a moment, a decade of action, not rhetorics as has been done during politics. There's no effort. If you make a promise with no actions that are backing such promises, it will only end up extending the goalposts. So the question is, what is the sincere approach of government towards ending gas flaring in the Niger Delta? If you are within Niger Delta, between Port Harcourt, River State, Bayelsa Delta, you will never see the blue sky, because black suits and gas activities within have completely taken over the atmosphere, creating a lot of health hazard for the people of the Niger Delta, and there's no attempt to compensate these people either through carbon credits or by any means necessary. So our question is taking the role as a leading African nation in oil and gas activities, aligning with the global world, moving towards renewable energy. What is the pattern Niger Delta will fare when renewable energy becomes the hub of global attention?
Interesting. I can feel your passion and your concerns, and that you've almost entirely lost trust and confidence in the words of the government. I cannot blame you. But then, have you got any plans to come out with a position paper and then work with the, I'm not talking of what happened in the past, I'm talking of taking the current president at his word and say, okay, let's work with the Minister of the Niger Delta or the NDDC, you know, on a position paper as regards gas flaring and other issues this time around, so you can practically monitor actions taken in this regard?
Interestingly, we have been a part of the processes that have led Nigeria's activities at COP28. We were privileged to be at the African Pavilion, where the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace, representing the President and that of the Minister of Environment, who launched Nigeria's long-term low-emission development strategy with an attempt to wind down fossil fuel gradually. Of course, Nigeria's economy today depends on fossil fuel and gas. We understand all of that. But the question is, what is the practical, actionable steps that will be taken towards ensuring that this strategy launched is not just another document that will be kept under sleeves? Also, the Minister of Finance also clearly unveiled another plan telling Nigeria's carbon credit process, where $10 billion annually is needed to tackle or deal with these issues of climate change within Nigeria. My question is, in all of these government statements, what percentage of this goes to the Niger Delta? The reason why Nigeria is an oil producing country in the world. Until climate justice becomes part of government's efforts towards the climate crisis, the people of the Niger Delta will forever bear the sole brunt of oil activities with nothing to go home. Remember, appointments of into critical positions within the oil and gas industry just took place with no job person, with no non-Niger Delta people participating. This is the burden we bear, bearing the brunt solely, but with little or no benefit attached to the people of the region. So our position is, we will no longer allow and watch as business as usual, where government take opportunities meant for everybody, including the people of the Niger Delta, but with little or no benefits to our people. Here in the UAE, justice, equity and fairness is part of the distribution of wealth, and that is why the entire country is happy to be under one leadership. Niger Delta cannot just be the bearer of the burden of the environmental hazard with no benefit. The carbon credits that Nigeria is seeking, the climate financing we are seeking, all the efforts towards getting enough money for developing countries, especially Nigeria, to develop methods of going towards renewable energy. Nigerian government must clearly define what comes to the people of the Niger Delta. That is the only reason why the burden we bear will have some sort of respite, some sort of succor, rather than just bearing the pain alone with nothing to attach to that burden we bear. This is our position, and this is why the Joint Council is personally here to make up our position. More so, we have also felt that the attention towards climate change, little is given to the people of the Niger Delta. We have the opinion that when we go back home, we will have to, as a region, launch the Niger Delta Regional Climate Action Council, that can look at the issues of Niger Delta as far as climate change is concerned.
Before we go, just before we go, 129.8 billion naira, that's how much ex-President Muhammadu Buhari earmarked for the various projects of the Niger Delta, especially Ogoni cleanup. 129.8 billion naira. Jonathan, are you aware or are you bothered that several monies earmarked for the cleanup of Ogoni and indeed the Niger Delta in the past had been siphoned one way or the other?
Now, this calls for vigilance. The cleanup of Ogoni, which is just like about 20% of the larger Niger Delta, like I said earlier, has not been successful. The reason is that Nigeria, in its usual way, when we have opportunity of defining ourselves in character, we have always chosen the path of stealing, and at the end of the day, the value for which that money is expended is not achieved. The cleanup of Ogoni is more of another political fiasco, where those who have access to power and those contracts are the only people who have access to the projects. But when you see what is happening in Ogoni land today, you'll be shocked at how much has been expended so far and what is on the ground. Just recently, the Ogoni youth, led by the Ogoni Youth Federation, led a peaceful protest calling for government investigation into the crimes of people who are undertaking the Ogoni cleanup project. I can tell you for free that if investigation is done by UNEP and critical agencies to underscore what is happening in Ogoni land, you will weep for Nigeria and especially Niger Delta. So the cleanup of Ogoni, yes, we encourage that to extend beyond Ogoni to the larger part of Niger Delta who are bearing these oil activities and the environmental devastation. But the simple truth is that even the one which is supposed to be a pilot scheme is for now considered a failure, because corruption has crept deeply into both the award and the execution process on the ground. So the value for which money is expended is not been achieved. However, that effort in an attempt to salvaging or healing the land of Ogoni be extended to the rest of the Niger Delta. That is our position, please.
Lokpobiri, President Ijo Youth Council, I must say thank you to you for coming to this night. And then I just hope that you people in the Niger Delta will first put your house in order so that you can indeed hold the government accountable to her promises and words to you.